For this recipe, we will need some cooking wine, diced garlic, onion, your favorite sweet or hot pepper, a little bit of cumin, your favorite herb. I chose basil, a little extra onion powder if you like, and a little bit of soy sauce for some saltiness, even though it's completely optional. And we'll also throw in 1 bay leaf into the pot, maybe 2 because we have plenty of beans. The first thing we're going to do is soften our beans. So if you're using dried beans versus canned, the way I like to soften them is by placing them in the pressure cooker. And I usually do about, for 1 cup of beans, I do 3 cups of water. So this was in here where I had 2, so I put 6 cups of water and put it on high pressure for about 35 minutes. So as you can see, they look pretty soft, they feel pretty soft, but the liquid, the water is it's very liquidy. It's not like a nice thick soup. So in order to get a thick soup, we're going to transfer it to the stove. We're going to add in all of our extra spices and ingredients, and then we're going to let it simmer on low heat for about 20 more minutes while we prepare some rice to throw it over. Okay, so what I'm showing here is sauteing the onions and garlic and pepper. So what I did was, to make this a low-fat recipe, I put a little bit of water on the bottom of the pot, just enough to cover the bottom. Then I added my cooking wine and a little bit of soy sauce. I really didn't measure these. Maybe it was about a tablespoon of wine and a teaspoon of soy sauce. But really it's just eyeballing it into taste. Then I added a few dashes of the onion powder, the cumin, and I'll add the basil in later. And then we're just gonna saute this for a few minutes, pretty much until most of the water has evaporated. And then we'll throw in the pressure cooker pot of beans with all of its water as well. Then I'll add the bay leaf in there, and I'll add basil again to taste, a few shakes, and then, like I said before, we will simmer it on low heat for about 20-25 minutes until the soup thickens. And also I'd like to mention that I normally add red pepper flakes to these type of things, but since I added a hot spicy pepper, specifically a red jalapeno, then I'm not going to add extra dried pepper flakes. But normally I would, so I'm thinking it's going to be pretty spicy enough as it is. And since I didn't have sweet peppers on hand, then this is what we're going with for now. Okay, now I've added my beans into my stove pot. I've added my basil, you can kind of see the amount that's in there, and I added my bay leaf. So again, we can see it's still very liquidy, but as this simmers down, it will thicken quite nicely to a nice, easy, pourable consistency that will go very nice over rice. And again, I poured in the whole pot, so the 6 cups of water are still in there. I didn't take out any, I didn't add any, except for the little bit for sauteing the veggies. So now I'm going to reduce this to low heat, and I'm going to cover it. There is a lot of water in here, so I'll probably cover it for about 15 minutes and then leave it uncovered for another 10, so a little bit can evaporate. I usually like them less liquidy, but that of course is to taste. And while we wait for that to cook, I'm going to show off my garden a little bit. So I just wanted to show that this is my little pepper plant. It's a little pathetic right now because we've been having crazy hot days and very, very little rain. So the leaves they're all growing very tiny, and it hasn't really grown that much. And here's one other little jalapeno. The other one that I picked off for today's recipe was here, and I picked it right before cooking, so it is very, very fresh, as fresh as can be. And it was already turning red as well. It wasn't green like the one on the right, so it's going to be quite spicy. And the rest of my garden is also looking a little dreary again. We haven't had much rain and crazy sun. Here are my lettuces. This one's actually going to flower already. So I'm gonna pick off some of those leaves, maybe make a little salad, little tiny baby salad. Here's my dragon fruit flowering down here. And my tomato plant is doing pretty good. It's quite tall. I would say about almost 4 feet tall right now. There's a few new flowers coming in. And a little tomato up there. Yeah. Here's my herb garden. I would put fresh basil into my black beans, but they're still so tiny, I really don't want to start picking leaves off of them. My other herbs, however, are doing quite great. The sage is really taking over the pot, and around the edges we have some thyme, there's some savory back there, some oregano. Here's the oregano, and mint is kind of scattered all throughout the bottom too. Here's some of the mint. Now I'm going to show you what I plan to do in a few weeks from now. So these little seedlings right here are watermelon seedlings, and I have exactly 16 growing. This one right here is looking quite nice. This one's looking nice too. This one not so much. And these two are the ones that are doing the worst. But overall they're all very good. And what I'm planning to do is I'm going to rip out all my lettuces, and I'm going to put the tomato and the peppers into a nice pot and move them into a shadier location where they won't be so torched by the sun. And then I'm going to let these watermelons go crazy in my box, and hopefully we'll have some nice juicy watermelons by, I don't know, maybe late August or late July, August, around there. Okay, so I have to leave this in a little longer than I thought I would. I normally make less amount so it cooks a lot faster. So it was in here for a little over 30 minutes, and I think it's looking pretty good right now. So I'm gonna pour these over some rice, and we're gonna chow down. Now it's time to dig in. I got my black beans over some steamed brown rice. I'm gonna add some fresh salad next to it, and that'll be my dinner.